everyone, listen, a couple quick things I want to share with you before we get into the details of this incredible amp sim. So first is I have a new single that is going to be dropping on June 15th everywhere you listen to music. Find the pre-save links for that in the description below. It is called Fire in the Sky. And on July 15th of this year, 2022, I have an EP dropping again everywhere you listen to your music. Find the links to pre-save that down below. The EP is called The Space Between. And the last thing is I have a brand new website and an online merch store. The merch store currently features a bunch of great products to help promote my EP, like the shirt I'm wearing right now, which has the JF logo on the front and the cover on the back. I will show a graphic of that on the screen now so that you can see it. And check out the website for all the different services that I offer. If you ever need mixing and mastering, submit the contact form and I will be in touch. With that, let's get back to the video. What is up, everyone? Jeremy here. In this video, we are checking out Audio Assault's latest amp sim called The Crown. This is based on the Mesa Boogie Triple Crown, which I have been wanting for a while now, so I am super thrilled that Audio Assault created this emulation of that amplifier. So getting right to the Crown, this is a 3-channel amp. So as you can see, we have clean, crunch, and lead. And what you'll notice here right off the bat, just kind of going through some of the features, as you toggle between the different channels, the dials for gain, all your EQ, presence, depth, focus, and master, and the tight switch are all channel independent. So as you change between the different channels, the settings you had for that specific channel will remain, which is nice. So kind of going through the overview, if you have seen the Audio Assault amp sims before, you are familiar with the whole layout and all the pedals and everything that comes with it, but just if you're not familiar, running through it real quick. And so in the pedal section, you have 3 pedals. You have the noise gate, the clean boost, and the tube screamer. So the clean boost is basically so you can tailor your DI signal how you want it before it hits the amp, which is very handy. So I often pull out lows, boost up highs, and give it a little bit more volume. And then the tube screamer, right? So this is kind of typical. I give it a little tiny touch of the drive, not too much, boost up some of the tone, and hit it with push the level nice and hot into the amp, right? So these are kind of my typical settings. Kind of quickly, before we get into the other sections, you'll notice you do have an input setting and an output setting here. So you can do your overall gain staging. So if you've got a low signal coming in, you can kind of boost it up a little bit. And as you adjust things throughout this plugin, you can of course dial back or up the output depending on kind of where your settings are for, again, gain staging. And then the gear icon here has a whole bunch of other stuff. So in your settings, you have your input routing, so you can take the left channel, right channel, or stereo. Quality, which is essentially oversampling. I've got it on mid right now, but you can go low, mid, high, or max. You have graphics. I always leave it on native. I'm not sure exactly what the difference is between native and OpenGL. I've never even tried the OpenGL, but you can change the graphics if you would like. And then we have the Doubletrack feature here. So this is currently on, and the reason for that is because in this demo, I wanted to have the kind of the wide sound that you would normally hear when you double track something. But because it's only me playing live, I can't, there's not 2 of me to play live, right? So I can't double track. So I turn this on to get that wide stereo sound. So here's an example. So if you're listening on a true stereo signal, you'll hear the difference there, how it becomes very wide sounding and then very mono sounding when I turn it off. So that's a handy feature, especially if you're just kind of sitting around, you want to open up the Crown here and just start jamming. You can turn this on to kind of get that more like production final sound and hear what it sounds like with the double tracking feature on. Then we have the amp setting, and we've already gone over the channels. You do have the power switch to just turn the whole thing on and off. You have the tight switch, which I couldn't tell you exactly what it does. I should probably read the manual and see, but it just sounds like it maybe pulls out a bit of the lows before it technically hits the preamp, because it really does tighten up the tone. A quick example. you can clearly hear how it actually does sound like it pulls out some of the lows there, because it just becomes, you lose a little bit of the bottom end, but it becomes very, very tight, which to me says they're probably pulling out lows before it hits the preamp, which often tightens up a tone anyways. Then we have our gain control, then the EQ section, which is very cool because they have a pre and a post setting here. So you just kind of click in the middle here, or I guess you can kind of click on each one, but anywhere you click here, it's just a toggle. So you can do post EQ or pre EQ. And I actually like doing the pre EQ for the exact reason I just mentioned with the tight. I pull back a little bit of the lows, and I'm just cranking the mids and the trebles all the way up to really push those nice and hot before they hit the preamp. And then I've got the presence just all the way maxed, and I've got the depth up a good ways because I like the kind of the low end resonance that come from this. It kind of adds back some of the low end because I'm pulling some out here. I've got the tight knob on, which I believe pulls out some low end. I've also got low end pulling out here from the clean boost. So I'm losing a lot of low end to really get a nice tight chug out of this amp. So the depth kind of helps add some of that back. So here's an example. So you can clearly hear how pulling that depth all the way down, you lose a lot of low end, so the depth adds it back. And then we have the focus control, and this is a very handy feature because it can go from offering a very scooped style tone to pushing a lot of mid-range, because what essentially it's doing is as you pull it to the left, it's pulling back mid-range. As you pull it to the right, it's boosting mid-range, but it's different from the mid-range EQ. It's a different frequency range, I believe, but have a listen to this. So you can clearly hear how that's pushing a lot of mid-range as I turn that up, and it's getting more scooped as I pull it down. So this can be a very handy little tool here for, you know, dialing in a rhythm tone that maybe you want to sound a little bit more scooped. You pull this back. If maybe you're dialing in a lead tone or even maybe like an ambient kind of crunch style tone, you could certainly boost this up to add more mid-range to help that cut through. So that's a very handy little tool, and I kind of keep it around here or so, I believe. And then of course you have your master setting. And another very useful feature of this plugin is the ability to swap out the tubes. So you have 6L6 and EL34s. I personally am more of a fan of the 6L6s. I feel like there's more top end bite to it, whereas the EL34s are a little bit more mid-range focused. But here's a quick example. You can clearly hear there's more top end bite on the 6L6s. Yeah, I'm more of a fan of the 6L6. I love the top end bite that has, but you have the ability to swap them out right there, which is very cool. And the next up we have is the cab section. And this has actually come quite a long ways with these Audio Assault amp sims. So you actually have a 3D cab simulator here where you can move around the mics in 3D space. And notice where it says down here at the bottom, hold shift to change mic distance. So you hold shift, now you can pull it back away from the speaker or push it forward towards the speaker, or just move the whole thing around in 3D space in front of any speaker you want. So this is extremely, extremely useful for dialing in tones. And then of course it comes with 3 different cabinets you can do this with. So there's the 3. Just kind of quick example of how this works here. So. And then I should note you can change the level of each independently here. So we have mic A, which is the 57, and mic B, which is, I'm not sure. I'll have to look that up, and I'll leave info on this in the description below, but I'm not sure exactly what mic this is. But here's all the 57. So now it's pulled like all the way far back away from the speaker. Push it back forward. So very, very handy. So here's an example of what other mic sounds like here. A lot more low end in this one. I like it a little bit brighter, so I'm pulling the mic B down. So here's the other cabinet. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the double track here so we can play around this for a little bit in mono. Not really a massive difference I'm hearing here. It sounds like maybe there's a little bit more upper mids or highs in this cabinet here, I believe. Yeah, and potentially more low end in this one here. And then we have this little one here. Yeah, clearly that one's not made for some low-tuned chugs, but I'm sure this probably sounds great with some like ambient, like clean stuff, maybe even some crunch. All right, and the last section we have here is the post-effects section. So these come after the amp, the cabinets, everything. And the first thing we have is the graphic EQ, then the chorus, the delay, and the reverb. And note, I do have the graphic EQ on with some settings and adjustments here, adding some top end, adding a little bit of upper mids, and then a little bit of low end. So this is what it sounds like with it off. And with it on. So I felt like that really helped. And then notice I did skip over this one, but I've got about 3 dB of 500 hertz, which is kind of where the mud comes in, especially in these kind of low tuned guitars like this with these heavy, the high gain and whatnot. So I pulled this back and you can really hear how that really kind of focuses the tone quite a bit. So really kind of pay attention to those lower mids. Yeah, huge difference. So a little bit of post EQ really cleaned up that tone. It really kind of added a lot of nice top end bite, some low end, pull out some of the mud. So then we have the chorus delay and the reverb, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to put that on this heavy tone. So what I'm gonna do is we'll go to the low gain or the crunch, dial this back a bit. Let's dial back these pedals, bring up this drive a bit. And I'm just gonna turn this one off. Turn this down. Tight. Chorus. Nice chorus. Of course, you can adjust the speed. I don't like the chorus too fast. I think it sounds a little wobbly. And of course, you can adjust the mix, so you can dial it back or even crank it all the way up. Adjust the width. All right, so there's the chorus. All right, and then next up is the delay. So we'll turn this on, and do note, I don't have sync on because this is actually the standalone version of the plugin running here, even though you do see the DAW in the background. It's easier to run this without the latency of the DAW in standalone mode. So if you are running this in your DAW as a plugin on one of your channel strips, you turn on sync and it will sync to whatever the BPM in your DAW is. But because it's outside of that, I can just adjust the time here or just change the BPM there. So this time we'll just play with this a little bit. Keep this right here. Something like that. And then feedback is going to extend how long you hear the delay. Now we're getting somewhere. Now the last piece of the puzzle we're missing is some space. So we have some reverb. I'm gonna pull up the size here a bit. And in fact, let's just focus on the reverb only so we can hear what this is doing. Don't like the reverb to be too bright. Like this, we'll turn up the mix. Now we're getting somewhere. All right, so now if we put it all together, and turn the delay and chorus back on, we might have ourselves a nice little ambient tone. That is gorgeous. Yeah, very, very handy features here with these post effects. So that is how the post effects work. Cabinet section, amp section, pedals. I think we have covered it, folks. That's basically a quick run through of this incredible amp sim from Audio Assault. Again, it is called the Crown, as you can see there on the face of the amp. So pricing on this is just incredible, as we have all come to expect with Audio Assault. It was originally listed at like $9.99, like $10. I've been told the price is going up to $14.99. I don't know when that's going to happen. It may have already happened, but even if the price went up to $14.99 already, you're talking $15. $15 for this incredible amp sim, which sounds fantastic. I mean, it honestly boggles my mind at how they sell these things for so cheap, because they are worth so much more. Don't get any ideas, Audio Assault? We enjoy the low prices. Thank you for that. All right, with that, we're gonna wrap up this video. I hope this was helpful. I hope you all enjoy the Crown as much as I do. And with that, I wanna thank you for watching this video. Hit that subscribe button down below if you dig this, you wanna see more like this in the future. Hit like, hit the comments with any thoughts you have, any comments, any questions about the amp sim or anything else. Look for all the links to download this, to join the Discord, all of that in the description below. Thank you for watching, and thank you for your support.